Hi, welcome back. We're moving on to the next recommended live album, that being Alice Cooper live in Glasgow, Scotland at the Apollo Theatre, 1982. I actually listened to this album before it was even recommended to me. I didn't really care for it. I thought he was going to, it sounds like he's going to collapse and die. That opinion has shifted a little bit. Because here's the thing, right? Okay, but first off, before I get to that, I'm going to do things a little bit differently for this video. You can let me know what you think, but I figure like, okay, because I feel like, these four albums, I'm going to repeat myself like 80% of the time, given the tour, set list. And instead of saying, Billion Dollar Babies, he sounds good, or he sounds shit, I was just going to give like a broad overall statement, talk about like a lot of points, not only on this tour, this album, but also this era in general. What I did in terms of writing things down, like I said, like all the points, but also I did write down some songs that stuck out to me. Like there will be something that I was like, oh, something, I'll write that in there, because there are some interesting stuff that goes on in this album. So you can let me know. But Glasgow is interesting, right? Because if you really know Alice Cooper, his material, I would assume either after this tour date, or shortly after the song "Only for Britain" would come out, considering he has the line "Glasgow" in there. I forget what it was. We invaded Glasgow, something like that along those lines. So this one, I didn't buy it when it came out. It is like a limited edition, 7,000, something like that. But one, because I didn't even know it was out, and two, if you look on eBay, it's just like scalper prices. That's how I call it. It's like 50 to 60 bucks. Alice Cooper doesn't sound 50 to 60 bucks on this album. I always say maybe 30 at most. It is a double LP. The album cover is interesting, in which they have the Special Forces logo, but it's kind of a silhouetted, and then you got like the red triangle as it. I always kind of wonder like what would have been had they swapped out the regular Special Forces cover of that Alice Cooper portrait, and replaced it just with the skull Special Forces logo, with like the triangle, of course. That would have been interesting. But okay, so also, if you want to, you can find this tour on YouTube. That's how I looked it up. This album. The set lists weren't in order as to what they were. A little bit shuffled, but whatever, that's fine. Also, Who Do You Think We Are wasn't on it, so you had to find it on a different video. But the band itself consists of Eric Scott, of course, bass, probably one of the more, if only prominent members from this band era. Really Alice's right-hand man during this blackout period. He would help Alice produce Zipper Catches Skin. Is that a promotion? Is that a highlight that the only people producing an album are band members? I don't know. That's up for debate. Obviously, bands do that, of course. But Alice Cooper at this point, Warner Brothers doesn't want to touch him, so it's more of a last option type of thing. At least that's how I view it. Wayne Cook for keyboards, Jean Yavina for drums, Mike Panera for guitar, and John Nitzinger for guitar. And of course, Alice Cooper plays Alice Cooper. And the set lists are Who Do You Think We Are, Go to Hell, Guilty, I'm 18, Cold Ethel, Only Woman Bleed, No More Mr. Nice Guy, Clones, which is nice to hear, Under My Wheels, I Never Cry, 7 and 7 Is, Grim Facts, Pain, Billion Dollar Babies, who would have guessed, Generation Landslide, and School's Out, which is a 14 minutes, and I will talk about that. One of the things that I found interesting for Generation Landslide is that Alice Cooper likes to talk about that nobody gets the song, so I don't play it live, or at least I rarely play it live. I will counter that the song is 50 years old at this point. A lot of people know it, and would like to hear the song, right? But okay. I want to talk about, so, Flush the Fashion and the Special Forces tour. So, for Flush the Fashion first, for a lot of people, Flush the Fashion was a red flag. It was, okay, stop. What are you doing? New wave punk. No more makeup. You know, underground look. Strip, raw to the point. What are you doing? So obviously, I mean, he did have the highlight with Clones. That was a top 40 hit. But obviously that got a lot of flack, being sounding too similar to a Gary Newman Cars theme. To me, I don't care. I really do enjoy the album. But overall, generally speaking, that's how a lot of people felt. And the Flush the Fashion tour, well, it's famous for one thing, right? A no-show at the Toronto concert, that being dubbed the Toronto Riot. So, 1980, everybody's there in Toronto, Alice, Alice. And the opening act's there, boo, hiss, fuck off. And then they're done. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you get the point. Alice Cooper isn't coming out. I think the opening act comes out again, and by that point, you're just pissing gasoline in the fire. And then eventually a PR guy comes out, and he says, Alice Cooper is a no-show today. This event is canceled. Then all hell broke loose, right? Everybody's running, throwing chairs, throwing coolers, anything they can get their hands on, just chucking it, right? Police are involved. People are punching. I mean, it is just a mad fest. Do I agree with that? Hell no. Obviously not. But it shows that Canadians aren't nice 24/7, right? You can find this tour, this riot on YouTube. Look up Alice Cooper Toronto Riot. You'll find it there. And read the comment section. So you got people that were there, and they give their insights. And also people nearby the area. There's one who worked at McDonald's, and like people came into the restaurant, and they're like, "Man, did you hear about this Alice Cooper riot that's going on?" But you might be, if you didn't know, you might be asking, well, why didn't Alice Cooper show up? Well, Alice Cooper said that he had an asthma attack. Now, I think either one of two things, and no, it's not an asthma attack. One is he was just so out of it for, smoking crack, and he couldn't get out of bed, and he couldn't do the show. Or two, he smoked crack, and subsequently had an asthma attack, and couldn't have done it. I'm going to say the former. There was a podcast, which I honestly rarely listen to podcasts. I just don't have the time for it. But it was about Alice Cooper, specifically the blackout period. So that really got my interest, because this era hardly ever gets talked about. Besides, yeah, that was fucking weird. But somebody was in a bus. I think maybe a tour bus or something, or maybe it was just waiting to maybe interview Alice. I honestly forget. But you're in the bus, then the doors open, right? And then here are these two big security guards, and then in the middle is this soaking wet, 100 pounds, if not less, Alice Cooper, which I don't even think I really knew who it was at first. Because you gotta remember, Alice Cooper, it ain't, the makeup. It's this, anorexic, militant drag queen at this point, right? Soldier of fortune. And then Alice, he sits down, and then the guy, somebody next to the guy who's talking about this, who was in the bus, goes, "Don't look at him." Wait, what? Don't look at him. Why? He gets paranoid if you look at him. So, for me, when Alice Cooper, when he talks about this era and he says that he doesn't remember this, do I think he's telling the truth? Partly. I think it's fair to say that you're obviously not going to remember some of the stuff that he did. However, I will say that there are definitely a lot of things that he does remember and chooses not to talk about. Now, when you're paranoid beyond the point that somebody looking at you throws you off, when you're doing crack to the point that you weigh like that, you look like that, you potentially see blood coming from your eyes, you're almost at a divorce, you're pretty much, 2 weeks from literally dying. I think it is rather, you're definitely not going to want to talk about that, right? And quite honestly, I do not blame him. So, flush the fashion, there you go. Tough, tough time, right? It just shows how drugs can just completely fuck you up. And it's unfortunate, because you had Alice Cooper who battled one drug, that being alcohol, and then he moved on to another one, that being crack, and then subsequently got back into alcohol. But he found God. He found God, and then obviously golf, and then he's never been better, right? So awesome sauce. But for the tour, like I said, USA, this is pretty much the last thing for Alice at this point. A lot of people are jumping ship, and then you move on to the Special Forces tour. USA, obviously he's still doing it, but it's just really not that successful. My dad actually went to this tour for one date. Maybe it was in Cow Palace. That's like in California, around San Francisco. And I don't think he really remembers a whole lot about it besides Alice looking weird. But however, there was a spark in Europe because he found huge success in Europe. So for Alice Cooper, I got a good comment from Giles, who's a regular, and he said like besides the Muppet Show, Alice Cooper got virtually no publicity in England, and I'm just going to lump it up and say probably Europe as well. And he said there were no patches, no pins. Oh, for pins. To go back to Flush the Fashion. After that Toronto riot, they came out with pins. It's blue, and it's got like Alice Cooper, like a top hat. He's like in a tannish color. And on the bottom says, "You're right, Alice." I try to look every now and then on eBay to see if it's there, but I haven't come up with anything. So I just went ahead on like Redbubble and just made one, but it's like private, probably just take it down, but in any case, there's virtually no publicity for Alice Cooper there. He says, the only way to know about him was to go to the record shop and go to his section, right? And then of course that changed with the Muppet Show. At least there was some publicity there. And then of course this European tour. Now this European tour of Special Forces was obviously documented for the Live à Paris, and he does a decent job on that considering his what he's going through. I'm not going to say it's fun to watch. I'm going to say it's quite disturbing. But he does fine, The stage is like this post-apocalyptic event. There's trash here. There's, destruction here. Then he comes out, who do you think we are? And then, of course, when he walks to the side, his body's like this. And that's not an exaggeration. But, he does, who do you think we are? At least he does the whole song as at least to this one on this album. It's like a quarter of the song. Or excuse me, I should say a half of the song, but the last quarter isn't even the actual lyrics. It's just like new stuff that they threw in there. And then after that one was, I believe it was Model Citizen. Well, obviously, work your way up, and you get to Glasgow, and you wouldn't think that he was doing Special Forces, because you got, who do you think we are? And then you got 7 and 7 is, and that's it. In fact, this album does more Flush the Fashion than Special Forces. I looked at this and I was like, wow, you could have had Vicious Rumors, or maybe Don't Talk Old to Me could be one thing. Your Movie, definitely. Like, I don't know why this stuff just didn't get carried on. Obviously, like, stuff gets dropped. Like, this isn't working. So, stuff like that. But I would have liked to hear some stuff. Because there's one song on here that definitely submits my opinion on that. But like I said, this is just an overall, talk about this album and the tours and stuff. So some of the songs that I didn't write down, it was just like, okay, this is pretty damn similar to like the last stuff. Everything's fine. There's not really too much to it. But obviously he opens up with Who Do You Think We Are? And then you get the intro, with like the synth noises and the waves. It doesn't sound like a helicopter though. It sounds like a machine gun because it's too much of a similar sequence, that type of sound. So I don't really get the helicopter sound that you get on the album. and then the voice kicks in, and it is this heavy, gasping for breath voice, and that he carries. This album is so weird in his voice and his demeanor, right? Because in like a 5 minute span of like 2 songs, you would go from this huffing and puffing, can barely get the words out, just plains enemy, I want you to collapse and die on this floor attitude, to the next song being, let's fucking go, hell yeah, dun dun dun. This energetic, oftentimes pissed off attitude, and it's like, which is which? And there is one thing I want to talk about this era, this blackout era, to where I don't think I've heard before or after in terms of other live albums, is that he really likes to play with emotions in a song, to where he will go from this confident, low gruff, maybe raspy voice, or definitely demeanor, to then this frail, out of pace, voice and tone. So I'll give you an example. He does it on the song I'm 18. And the confidence part is, I'm a boy. And then the fragile part is, and I'm a man. So you get this real just, I'm guilty vibe. And then, so, it's interesting. I feel like obviously half of it is, obviously like his state of mind, his state of physique. But then another half is like, I think he's just kind of, playing around with some stuff. So I always find that kind of interesting because you really don't hear it. It's more just straight to the point, this is the tone I have, so I'm going to go throughout the entire song like that. As opposed to this one, it definitely fluctuates. But to go back to Who Do You Think We Are, I do think that the instruments can be louder on that song. I think it's quite isolated. In fact, it almost reminds me of what's to come after being a few months with the release of Zipper Catches Skin, this often isolated cold sound to it. But like the new lines that he throws in is, we're your neighbors, friends, you're your protection, we're tired of getting pushed around. So he does that, and then it ends. He does have like the general stuff, of course, red, white, black, and blue, that stuff, machinery with semi-automatic heart. So he does have that stuff, but, it was alright for what it was. I didn't really care for it. But like, again, I'm just going through the songs that I picked out. And again, let me know, do you like this, or would you rather have me do each song again? Because like, I just found it a little bit difficult to me, like, I didn't want to sound, redundant. But in any case, so for one of them, the next one, that I wrote down is for the song Guilty. Now, for the song Guilty, he carries this real rough, pissed off demeanor, which, I thought was pretty good. He hammers with hate, specifically on the line, laws on my ass every time I stick it out the door. But his voice is, laws on my ass every time I stick it out of the door. Just that. You never hear this vocal tone before or after. Obviously, it's during this period. And then he gets that defeated voice with, the guilty lines. And, I'm guilty, so guilty. And then, he flirts with that throughout this song. And then to go back earlier to what I said, it's like, man, which one is it? Is it this out and doubt, or is it this, pumped up, let's go attitude? Because you get this, down and out flirt, and then after, you get this 100-mile-per-hour guilty line, you're guilty, 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 guilty. It's like, holy shit, It's just interesting, you know. But Guilty, you know, for what it was, I did enjoy it. You know, I don't really care for the official release on like the one Goes to Hell. I always enjoy like the live versions more. So this one, you know, for what it is, I did enjoy. But I did want to talk about the two ballads that he does. He does Only Woman Bleed, which was good. I thought it was good. But then he does I Never Cry, which, you know, I thought was good. I just find it kind of interesting, you know, just like some of the songs that you might pick sometimes to where, you know, I mean, I don't know, Giles, maybe if you're at this one, you can let me know, but is it kind of weird seeing this, you know, anorexic, militant drag queen on stage, and then he gets on his knees and says, "My heart's a virgin, it ain't never been owned." You know what I mean? You know, it should really just be a lot of this guilty or, you know, I'm machinery, just these really heavy, you know, punk songs that he came out with, and then of course the Alice Cooper band stuff, and, you know, like the theater stuff, if you will. But, you know, I just found it kind of interesting. You know, he didn't do a bad job on it, but it's just kind of like, you know, this is the definition of a juxtaposition, right? But then again, you can define Alice Cooper's whole career on that juxtaposition, that being, you know, literally his name, and then, you know, doing these ballads and stuff. But you go on for I'm 18. This one was actually kind of interesting. So, you know, you got the stop and go with the intro, like I talked about with the Live a Prairie. And, you know, he really shifts his voice between confidence and fragile, like I gave for the line, you know, I'm a boy, I'm a man. I think the lines are still different, you know, because sometimes it is a little bit hard to hear on this version. I don't know if it was like the creator or something, but it got to a point, I think it was paying onwards, so like the volume was pretty low, so it's kind of like hard to hear. But he throws in a new little stanza here, which I enjoy, which was, she said she wanted something fresh. How about a little Glasgow Flesh? Which one do you want? You know, so I thought that was pretty interesting. It gave me a little bit of vibes of fresh blood that would come out in obviously Dada. But yeah, you know, he hits the chorus quite well. You know, I'm 18. You know, I don't get what I want. So yeah, you know, for what it was, I thought it was decent. Do I enjoy this one more than the Alice Cooper show? Ooh, so Alice Cooper show, I like the voice more. But in terms of set lists, I enjoy this one more. So, you know, whatever. However, between the two, would I consider it his greatest? No. However, the person that did ask me to do this one, he actually said that this was his favorite live, you know, LP. So that's cool. You know, to each their own. But for No More Mr. Nice Guy, again, this was the one that I'm like, why can't you sound like this on all the songs, right? Because for No More Mr. Nice Guy, he sounds clean. Obviously, he doesn't sound clean for, you know, the earlier years. He still has that bit of a, you know, self-inflicting pain throughout his voice and stuff. But he sounds tremendously better than some of the other stuff on here. You know, he carries a lot of weight, and he's got this swagger to him. You know, and he even throws a funny line in here, you know, I'm sick, I'm obscene, well, a little bit, you know. So, again, you get this real, almost like, I don't want to call it fourth wall breaking, obviously not, but, you know, there's almost like, let's change the pace, let's change the emotion, you know, maybe change some lines, add a little tongue-in-cheek throughout these songs, this being this blackout era. And then, of course, you know, he does carry that defeated tone throughout him at various parts. The band behind him shouting, you know, no more. So you got, you know, Mr. Nice Guy. And then he changes the pace to that, you know, sad, reflecting tone with the, you know, cat claw my eye part. And then gets right back in with that energetic tone with, you know, Reverend Smith. He recognized me, punched me in the nose. He said, you know, of course. But this song, it's like, wow. He can still carry the me part, where I would have thought, like, there's no way in fuck I can do that, right? I'm going to leave it up to the band, or I'm just going to leave it up to the audience, right? But he does it quite well. And of course, it's not just a one part thing; it's quite a few parts, and he does it quite well. So I was rather surprised by that. Yeah, but no one, Mr. Nice Guy. Maybe my favorite song on this album, or I should say my favorite delivery on this album, right? But okay, then one of them was Clones. So if you were to ask me what's like the best live version for this era, I'm gonna say Alice Cooper live at El Paso. Now I know that the one on YouTube it's only like half the songs, right? So maybe that's something I should do. Maybe I should just buy the CD and then just burn it and then upload it onto YouTube as like a complete set. But when you go on eBay, it's kind of interesting. I'm not laughing by the prices, but the fact that here's a town, El Paso, Texas, right? But like 90% of the sellings are from the United Kingdom. So I don't know if that was like a huge thing, Alice Cooper, El Paso, and the United Kingdom. That I don't know, but just the vast majority of the album, the CDs that are being sold are from the UK, right? But for his delivery on the song Clones, his voice is in this despair, forgotten attitude, of course, with the band vocals as well. Carries that theme throughout the song. And he gets this very robotic voice to times, with the ugly ones, stupid boys, wrong ones. And then he just gets into this down, broken, cracked voice, I'm all alone. So, again, it's just that various emotional throughout it all. And then he cracks up again with, I just want to be myself. And then it's just this complete 180 reverse with, we destroy the government, we destroy time, no more problems on the way. But, I think this version, I think it definitely holds up, I would definitely love to hear him. Obviously, he did it recently, like a few years ago, so that was pretty awesome to hear. But for what he does on this one, I appreciate the various changes in the attitude throughout it, and, I thought it was pretty decent. Obviously, another one for the blackout period will be 7 and 7 is. This one I wrote down, relatively short, to which the instruments are, full speed, 100 miles per hour, heavy, mean. The voice, 10 miles per hour. Not a lot of meanness, mostly tired tune. Now, when you're doing a song in which you're on stage going, hoo bam bam, hoo bam bam, yeah, you better show that you can at least pick a fight, right? And the way he does it on this one, it just sounds rather bad, I know like all the tour footages for, actually I should take that back. The I don't know what you call it, the gearing up footage for the tour here. You had Pain, Only Woman Bleed, and then 7 and 7 is where he's in this this bus or train cart, and he's in there red shorts and gray shirt, bandana, hoo 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 hoo, it's just you don't really. Maybe if he was in a dark alley, sure, but he doesn't really scream the threatening type. So yeah, I thought it was pretty bad. I did really enjoy the instruments though. But to go back to Flush the Fashion, I wrote down for Grim Facts. He is a lot better. Again, and this comes right after 7 and 7. So 7 and 7 he sounds completely washed out. But then Grim Facts, he's back at it again. It's just weird. Fast. He carries it with attitude, and just it sounds pretty good, compared to the original. And I said last time to where, I'm not one to say, like, it's got to be note for note. He's got to sound exactly the same, or her, depending on, what concert you're going to. Change it up off some, I don't care. But, at least have it somewhat similar to it, right? And this one does. Got the yelling out of the red lights, gang fights, cruising in the heat. Then the cop calls, gay bars on your precious street. It's not bad. The backing vocal, backing band, they get on it as well. With the chorus part, and yeah, he just like flies through the motions all. Walking time bomb. Likes to brush against my Levi's. Likes to watch him grow. Grim Facts. Every parent better know. it's good. I like I said, I enjoyed the El Paso. I think in terms of like cream of the crop for this era, my opinion is El Paso. But then again, you really don't have a lot to go with, do you? I think it's just that, and oh, maybe this one. I honestly don't know. But yeah, Grim Factor, I thought it was good. But for Pain, this one is. I'm not embellishing here. This one, it kind of disturbed me a bit. Again, I'm not embellishing. I got kind of disturbed by this song. Uh, and it's all in part of his delivery. You know, he's got this just absolutely defeated, just agonizing feel to him, and he does the sort of rendition lines, like the new lines of the cut on the wrist, salt in the slaves, the spear in Jesus' side, his cold blue body pulled from the lake, as opposed to the Tom and Jerry, step on the rake, you get a lump on your head, right? But like what kind of got me chills was towards the end, where he just shouts out in agony the line "pain." I'm your pain. I mean, it's just check it out. It's just like it's like his dog died, his house burned down, he saw his parents get slaughtered, and he's just on the floor, fucking collapsing. It's kind of creepy, and props to him. He definitely hit the mark here. But yeah, just that cracking of, I'm your pain. You need your pain. I think he says how I hate this pain. So I don't know. That's a little calling out there. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, definitely a bit creepy. But I wrote down for $1 Billion Babies. There wasn't really a whole lot to write about this one. Obviously, it does follow the same stuff. It's back to this wipeout attitude. Again, just a 180 here, a 180 there. I don't get it. But remember how last time for the Alice Cooper show, how I said the last line of $1 Billion Babies, where he's got this $1 million baby, as opposed to now he'll be like million. So take the stuff from the Alice Cooper show, that attitude, and just multiply it throughout the entire song. So, we go dancing nightly, just that type of thing. And again, it's not so much that I hate it. Hate's a strong word. I don't hate this album. The biggest feeling I get when I listen to this album, it's just sad. It's just sad hearing this. Huffing and puffing, trying to get words out. Then, obviously, that goes away depending on either how he feels or the song. But it's just rather tough to listen to. But like I said, I did warm up to it a bit, and if you enjoy it, awesome. But for Generation Landslide, it's not the Special Forces version. I was kind of expecting the no one gives an oink about prom night or football. That wasn't in there. It's just the regular one from $1 Billion Babies. However, there was some great electric guitar play at the end. Obviously, nowhere for the Dick Wagner, Steve Hunter. That era's gone. However, Dick Wagner does come back, obviously, for Dada. If you want to watch a cool YouTube video, I think just maybe type in maybe Alice Cooper, Dick Wagner, Dada. There's a video. The thumbnail is actually pretty cool, to where it's like a newspaper article that they made, and it's two guys. I believe they're in a hotel lobby, and they're interviewing Dick Wagner, and they talk all about the album. They talk about when they're in the hotel with Alice Cooper, where he's living. Cheryl's gone. Then Bob Ezrin's there, Dick Wagner, having fun. Talk about Scarlett and Sheba, the two ladies that work there, try to have threesome with Alice. He's like, no. And then it's just it's a rather very and then they go through each song, and then they're looking at, I think it's a Wikipedia thing about what the concept could be, Steven, blah 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 blah. So yeah, check that out. I'll actually put it in the description if you guys are interested. But yeah, Generation Landslide, Alice Cooper. Just put the damn song on the set list, right? I think a lot of people are gonna know it, you know? 1973, sure, you know, boomers aren't gonna know that song, you know, because it's directing at them, but obviously now, you know, we can see like directs at them, right? But, you know, whatever. Alright, so, but to end it, obviously, is School's Out. 14 minutes. And, you know, go through the motions, you know, School's Out forever. But here's the thing, right? I look at those 14 minutes because, like, 8 of those minutes, it's just Alice Cooper kind of acting like a dumbass. Harsh, maybe, I don't know. But, you know, he interviews the band, of course, you know, my special forces, you know, on bass, Eric Scott, you know, and then, you know, me, stuff, shit like that. But then it's like, they go through this little solo piece, and then it's quiet, and then he yells at a band member. He's like, no blues, play. And then he starts playing, and then he's like, all right, done. And you play. And then, you know, they start doing the solo piece. You know, it's like, would you rather have that, or would you rather have 3 other songs that would have made up 8 minutes? You know, 8, 9, 10 minutes. You know, throw in the Vicious Rumors, throw in You're a Movie, and then have School's Out be like a 5-minute song of, you know, School's Out. You sure introduce them, and quite honestly, just ditch the hey, look at me, I'm part of an orchestra type of thing. And look, I get it, general, you know, commanding your forces. You're like, no, I want you to play, but just, you know, when you look at the YouTube video and it's like 1:10, and then it starts at like 55 minutes, it's just like, oh Christ, you know. But yeah, you know, for the most part, Alice Cooper, live at Glasgow, Scotland. You can let me know, what do you guys think about this album? Do you guys love it? Do you guys hate it? For me, I think it's fair. And Josh, let me know, where you at this one? Where you at Glasgow? I know you kind of backpacked your way through this tour, if I remember correctly, which is cool. You know, I find this era to be, and I'm sure it's the wrong word, but I find it to be interesting. You know, because obviously not a lot of people talk about it, and just seeing Alice at this point, I sound like a glorifying it, I'm not, but just, you know, you're so used to the, you know, $1 Billion Babies, Welcome to My Nightmare trash, you know, Feed My Frankenstein, Alice Cooper, you know, the standard, what is Alice Cooper, but then to see him like this, you know, intriguing, probably for the wrong reasons, right? But yeah, whenever somebody talks about it, you know, blackout period, I always, you know, pull my head up, you know, ear looking, and you know, if it's, oh, this sucks, like, okay, you know. But yeah, otherwise, let me know, what do you guys think? Love it, hate it? Otherwise, I will see you guys next week for a fistful of Alice Cooper, and there's a song on there that I'm going to be quite honest, maybe should have been the official release. I'll let you guys decide maybe what I'm thinking there. But otherwise, take care, guys, and thanks for watching.